All right, let's have a look at controlled structures in Go. You have already seen the if statement, but just for thoroughness sake, let's have another look at it. So first, though, we will create a new file that will hold the respective code. So I'm going to create a new application, and I'm going to call this control, and the file will be control.go. As always, we're going to declare a package and create a main function first. So the package again is main because it's an application. Then we are going to import some stuff. And know that I'm going to use the format package because I want to print stuff to the screen. And let's define the main function. So first I would like to talk about Boolean operators in Go. And we're going to use those to define what to check for in our if statements. Go supports all the usual Boolean checks like 2 equal signs for equality check, pound equal for not equal to, greater than, greater or equal than, and the less than equivalence. And the logical operators are 2 ampersands for the AND operator, 2 pipes for the OR operator, and a pound for inverting a Boolean value. Hence, let's check whether the year is 2023, and if it is, let's print that to the screen. If it's not 2023, we're going to print that it is not 2023. Although by the time I'm writing the script, the year 2023 is almost over. So I'm going to check the year. First, let's set the year to 2023. And then we're going to check the year. So we're going to say if the year is equal to 2023, well, then we're going to print to the screen the year is 2023. Let's put an exclamation mark in there. However, if that is not the case, we're going to print to the screen the year is not 2023. Sorry, 2023, yes. As you can see, using an if statement is pretty straightforward. You start with the if keyword, then put your check right next to it, and then you follow a pair of curly braces. Inside those curly braces, you put whatever code you would like to run if that is true. Note that I also included an else statement that will run if the condition is not true. Including an else statement is, of course, entirely optional, and you don't have to use it. Also, you could add another condition to check for, so let's also check for the year 2024. Say else if the year is equal to 2024. Going to print to the screen, is it already 2024? Cool. Let's create an if statement with 2 conditional checks. And this time we want to check whether somebody has enough money to buy an ice cream cone from our ice cream truck. However, if that person is a friend of ours, that person can also get ice cream for free, even if that person doesn't have enough money. So we're going to set some ice cream. And the money the person has is 1.2, but that person is a friend of ours. Put in the check. So if, and I like to put these in parentheses, multiple. So if the money is greater than 2.0, so the price of the ice cream is $2, or that person is a friend, then we want to run the following code. Into the screen here, have an ice cream cone. However, if that is not the case, we want to print to the screen, sorry, no money, no ice cream. So we demand that the person has exactly or more than $2. However, we also check whether that person is a friend of ours. Since the friend variable is already a Boolean variable, so it has a Boolean value, I can just put the variable name in there. In this case, we should give out an ice cream cone, even if that person does not have enough money. Cool. Let me show you one more thing we can do with the if statement. We can do an assignment and a check involving that variable at the same time. So let's say we have a variable called number, and we would like to check whether the squared value of that number is greater than 16. If so, we want to print what number that is. Well, for that, I also need to import the built-in math package. Set number equal to 8.0. And then we do if squared, which is equal to the second power of that number variable, colon, semicolon. And if that number is greater than 16, we would like to print to the screen the following. And we're going to do some string formatting. Square of number is greater than 16. And then let's actually print what that number is. So as usual, I start my if statement with the if keyword. However, then I do a simple assignment and end that assignment with a semicolon. After the semicolon, I proceed with the regular checks that we always do, as well as with the code that auto-execute if that check yields a true value within the curly braces. Now let's test that all of this works by running the program. All right, this prints what we expected to print. Let's move to our next flow control structure, for loops. The for loop is used in situations where you would initiate a counter and then decrement or increment that counter while checking whether the counter is above or below a certain value. So let's illustrate this by creating a simple lift-off countdown starting from 10. So let's open the text editor again. So, sorry. So for I, which we initialize with the value 10, we check that that number is greater than or equal to 0. And then we want to decrement that counter. If I is greater than 0, then we want to print to the screen countdown and that number. If that is not the case, so in other words, if that is 0, we want to print to the screen lift-off. So you start with the for keyword and initialize the counter variable to some variable which you end with a semicolon. For our for loop, we set this to 10 since we want to start decrementing from 10. This is then followed by a condition that checks whether the for loop should keep going or not. If it's true, the for loop keeps going. In this case, we want to execute the code inside our for loop if the index variable is greater or equal to 0. Lastly, we define how we want to change the counter after we finish the iteration. In this case, we want to decrement I by 1. If you want to iterate over the elements of a collection, like an array, you want to loop over a range. So for demonstration purposes, we will first create an array of names and then loop over that array. So let's create an array of names. Names in there: Peter, Susan, Joe, Barbara, and Elizabeth. For I, name, range names. We want to print to the screen name, number, well, whatever that digit is. Oh, sorry, name, number, digit. That one is a string, and then we put in a line break, and we use I and name. When using the range operator, we get back two results: the index, which we're currently at, and which we bind to I, and the actual value, which we bound to the name variable. Afterwards, we use these two loop variables in our code. Last but not least, I would like to show you the switch statement. This is typically used when you want to react to a value. It's very similar to the if-else statement. So let's set our favorite color inside a variable and react to that value in there. And let's say favorite color is blue. And we want to switch based on that value. So we're going to switch based on favorite color. So favorite color is red. Print to the screen like a very color. If it is blue, into the screen you like a very cool color. If it is green, we want to print to the screen yummy, fruity. And if none of that is true, we want to print to the screen you like neither red, blue, or green. My question mark. So we start by setting our favorite color to blue, so nothing new here. However, we then use the switch statement and add the variable name that we want to check afterwards. This is followed by a pair of curly braces. Inside the curly braces, you can see that I add several case keywords with possible values to it. Basically, every case needs to have its own case value pair. This is followed by a colon, and then the indented part will only run if the value matches. Also, check the last part. Here I define a default case. So if all the other cases don't match, that one will. Cool. Now let's run all of that code to check whether it works as intended. Whoops, looks like some of our curly braces there went off. Check that. So error was on line 50. Yes, of course. We need to say that this is an array of strings. So let's run this one more time. Go run command control go. And there's another error. So I misspelled print line on line 67. No problem. It's easily fixed. So run control. And I can see there's one more error here. So the countdown head doesn't have a line break. So let's add that one as well. So let's see, where's that one? Don't forget to put the break in there. So this should work. Go, run, command, control, go. And there you go. This prints exactly what we expect. This pretty much covers the section on flow control structures. These three should get you covered. Notice that there is no while loop. However, you can easily construct one using the for loop. And the next section will cover some more details on data collections, and we need to talk a bit about pointers.